hear me from before. Hello, this is Madcat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today, I am discussing Hulk Hogan. Now, this is a rather unpopular view. I've already gotten into some arguments about it that I've chosen to forgive Hulk Hogan. You know, the thing is that our culture is so quick to hang out any man to dry that, someone does something bad, does one thing bad, and somehow erases their entire existence. Any good that they have done is gone because all we're going to remember is this one thing. Now, it's recently happened to Bill Cosby. You know what? Bill Cosby might be guilty. And if he is, I want him to go to jail because he did something very bad. But I do call to question on whether or not he actually did it or not. Yes, there's some extenuating circumstances. Well, not extenuating. There is some evidence that Bill Cosby has drugged people. And for that, he should answer for those crimes. But it should be a court of law, not public opinion, that convicts him. Look at the Duke lacrosse team. The Duke lacrosse team. Everyone in that school thought they were guilty. The faculty of Duke signed a petition for them to be expelled. The entire public media stated that they were guilty, and it was found that they were innocent. And, do you think they got any apologies from the people that were outside their dorm banging on pots and pans for them to admit to something they didn't do? No. And I'm sick and tired of this shit. I mean, this happened many years ago. And yet now it's being brought up in defense for Gawker, of all places. And more than that, the WWE terminates Hulk Hogan's contract and erases them from their website. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He is what brought wrestling entertainment into our homes. He was the thing for children to grasp onto. Yes, growing up, I was a wrestling fan. I'm not really a wrestling fan now. It kind of bores me. But, I sometimes watch old YouTube videos of wrestling matches, and he's one of the people I happen to see. Now, Hulk Hogan is not a perfect man. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But it doesn't negate what he has done. I went ahead and looked up a couple of charities that he's done, and you can kind of see them here. The Special Olympics, Make-A-Wish Foundation, American Diabetes Association. Some of the cases of what he's done for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, all of the lives that he affected. Unfortunately, not all of them lived, but at least he gave a couple of people, especially children, a dream before they passed on. Here's some more information on some of the charity work that he's done. But it's not even just the charity work. It's just what an impact he's made on our culture. And we're just able to just say, well, you know what? You said the N-word in private, and now you're basically going to be written out of history. My good friend N.C. Clark is saying the N-word the same as killing yourself and your family. At least it seems that way because all of WWE erasing Chris Benoit from the records as well. Didn't Obama use the N-word on a radio broadcast about a week ago? That's a good point with Chris Benoit. I mean, I remember when Chris Benoit first died, I wasn't even watching wrestling then, but I caught in the first episode since his death, and There were so many people saying such nice things, but then when it was found that he ended up killing his entire family, they're like, yeah, we're not going to mention him anymore. And it was an unfortunate thing, but it was found that he had such severe brain damage. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse of, oh, well, then it's okay for him to have killed his family, but that doesn't mean that we should completely erase what a person was. But more than that, Hulk Hogan, I mean, he's done charities, he's done such great things, and we're just going to wipe him out. Now, looking at his Wikipedia page, there was a couple of things that struck out at me. And this is a very long, long list. Let me find it again. So, yeah. Well, you can go ahead and read it for yourself, but I do know that he said that when he was during this time when the sex tape actually happened, that he states that happened like 6 years prior to this. He was just in a very bad place. And during this time of the sex tape is when he said these racial comments. Well, if he was in a bad place, well, even then, we all say things in private that we wouldn't want the public to know about. And that's how we deal with our stress sometimes, is we just like, start saying things that we wouldn't want anyone to know about. We all do this. And if you don't, you probably should. You'd be amazed on how much relief you get. You'd never say that in public. And it's not because you're hiding. You just need to say something bad just to get all that pent up anger and stress out of your system. And, reading through some of the things that Hulk Hogan said in that, which you can see in this article, he's talking about his daughter dating a black man and how, he spent like 2 to 3 million on her music career and she basically went with someone else. He was a little upset about that. I mean, would you be angry if you spent 2 to 3 million dollars on a child to live their dream and they just drop you like a sack of potatoes? So, and yes, he did admit that he was racist. He did admit that back then he said something that he shouldn't have done. He apologized. But when I look at this, when I look at what he said, it sounds like he was just trying to say something in privacy just to get it out of his system. Because you know what? He didn't say it in public. He didn't say, the N-word in public. Now, there is one thing. There was something about a radio show where they're talking about his use of the word brother and how it's very similar to black people saying that. And then he starts talking about Booker T and brings up the N-word. But even in that situation, it's not like he was saying the N-word to say that he had permission to say it. He was referring to something someone said to him. When I look at these two incidences, I don't see Hulk Hogan being racist so much as him saying racist things. One, in privacy, in confidence that he didn't expect it to be seen by anyone else, just to get it out of his system, just to get all that pent up rage and stress he had, which is what we all do. And the second is just him having a conversation about someone he happens to know to be black who uses a derogatory term, which seems to be okay for black people. But even if you want to say that it's still bad that Hulk Hogan said the N-word, even in privacy, he agrees with you. And I'm willing to forgive Hulk Hogan. I believe we need to forgive people. And he says, you know what? I shouldn't be saying that, and I need to change myself. We should be encouraging change. We shouldn't be looking for an excuse to just hate someone, especially for their celebrity status. And that's all this is. It's a man being expendable. It's like, yeah, we raised you to fame and glory, but now we want to hate you, so we're going to hate you. And we're going to not look at anything you've done in the past. Roddy Piper. He had an interesting history with Hulk Hogan. And even he himself, I'm going to read what he says, because he was talking about some of the things that he's been through. He says, "My point is that, boy, you guys are sensitive. Hang on. I know people who have to get up to walk 5 miles for water first thing in the morning. I'm just saying that this literally happens to me in my whole life. With Hulk, I don't agree with his choices. But you know what? I don't hear people saying all the great things he does. When he was on the Wheaties box, all those kids that said their prayers and took their vitamins, I don't hear them saying that. They just want to nail this." And that's basically it. A person that, as far as their career goes, didn't like Hulk Hogan. He's not exactly defending him, but he is attacking people for being too sensitive. And Hulk Hogan has to have his entire reputation shamed. Everything that he did for the WWE, for making it what it is today, gone. And that's what public mob justice is. I forgive Hulk Hogan because I've seen all the good things that he's done. I've seen what kind of person he is. I don't know him personally. And I want to believe that what he did at this time was just as a low point during his life. I want to believe that he was just doing it to, de-stress and to say awful things just because he felt comfortable in privacy. But that's not necessarily who he is. You can't judge people for what they say in private. Because sometimes when people talk in private, it is just for the sake of privacy, and it's not a reflection of who they really are. I look at the man as a whole, and if he says that he is sorry for it, then I believe him. Now, the issue was brought up about Bill Cosby, that if Bill Cosby suddenly apologized, that I might forgive him. I wouldn't forgive Bill Cosby. If Bill Cosby admitted to raping all of those women and then apologizes, I wouldn't forgive him. But then there's a distinctual difference between using the N-word and raping women. And it's not like Hulk Hogan did anything to knowingly repress any person of color. Not a black person, not a Latino person. And if he has, please show me. I'll be happy to see it. I forgive him, though. I forgive him for his comments. I forgive him that he was in the privacy and that his privacy was violated by people he trusted at the time. Anyways, I'm going to end this here. Leave your comments down below. Please subscribe to me, all that jazz. And this is Mad Cat signing off.